right. Okay, here we go. Look who it is. It's Anarosa, Dean, and David.
Oh,
Woo!
hello.
Hello. We just saw you.
I know there was a few birds in there.
Yay! Oh, so excited. I was like so excited. I'm like, my hands were sweating, and I was like, oh
I
my
was
god.
sweating. Like, oh god.
That's so good. Dean, David, tell us, like, when you're watching me play that, like, how are you feeling when you're watching me?
How are you feeling?
No, I'm fine.
How are you feeling when you watch it play?
Oh, watching the
watching yourself.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty immune to it at this point.
That's fair. Nice and calm. What about you, Dean? What about you? Do you feel nervous?
When I was watching the trailer, I meant watching the game, I was like, oh, there's a bug. Oh, there's a bug.
Oh,
Because
of
you're
course.
playing a dev build, and I'm just like, I need to chain smoke right now. This is bad. I'm just nervous. It's like I was watching, like being in doing performance art or something.
Oh no, it was amazing. People in the chat were really enjoying it. And Anna Rosa, have you seen that much of the game yet, or was that the first time?
No, so I like I've seen so much more of the game. So thanks for playing it, Claire. And I just have to say that the guys are really talented. I don't know what you think, but I think they're real talented mofos, even though they keep finding bugs and blah blah blah, which I wouldn't know. I don't know, I have a clue about these things. But yeah, well done to the lads. Even though I'm watching them now, it's very funny just watching the two of them sharing one set of headphones. For God's sake. For God's sake. Jesus Christ. We've made that game and you have one set of headphones.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I do. Otherwise, if you get a feedback loop, that would be great.
It was great in the beginning. I had no idea what was going on. And it's
Guys.
like, I would say something. No, I couldn't. I should look at this screen and not that screen.
Yes, look here. Look at us. Look here. Look at us.
No, look at you. Not you.
Not you. Yeah.
Not you.
So,
Hi, guys.
guys, Dean and David, tell me exactly, explain to people. So we saw a little glimpse of what's going on. I think I'm sensing here themes of mental health and things like that. But in your own words, tell us what the game is about. So for the good people in this chat here.
I'll give it to David.
Yeah, I have to take that one. So basically, we started out, Dean, having a very interesting sort of idea that we should create an adventure game that was a little bit more topical. It was to do with some very tragic circumstances, and we, from both of our lives, and also from, the media and things like that. And we decided that we were going to build something that was going to be very close to our hearts, but also quite abrasive, and counter that with Dean's beautiful stylings.
Yes, and they're very beautiful. Let's and I want to ask you about that in a second. The style and the feel, in terms of the story. How do you go about writing an FMV game with all of the choices in front of you? It must have been really interesting, but also was it a pain in the bum? Like, how do you even start?
I wouldn't say it's a pain in the bum. If you've got a pretty organized brain, it sort of nests in there. And I've got wonderful people on my team who will now sort of see that I've got the weird brain mind palace thing going on, and they just start to sort of feed into it. Anarosa's been great. We've essentially built this new character for her, just using our own sort of conversations and imagination. And so a lot of that, it's not about worrying about the branching. That all sort of comes into it as you go. I think the biggest thing is making sure that all of those branches actually have meaning, that you're not just making branches and new decisions for the heck of it.
And in terms of the style, because we can see here that the style is, I mean, you've got I've played lots of different FMVs, but the style is absolutely incredible, from the colors, the way the characters are, I love the way that you've laid it out. How did you decide? Did you have this in your head when you began writing and you were like, right, this is what we're going for, or did that come afterwards?
Okay, so I had a bit of a technical difficulty there. You were cutting out. Could you repeat the question?
That's okay. In terms of the style, did you have an idea of the style before you started writing, or did that come to you afterwards?
The kind of synthwavy style, like I've kind of this is gonna be really obscure. Well, not obscure. So I'm a huge fan of the movie Kung Fury.
I
which
love
is
Kung Fury.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
and I just love the aesthetic so much that I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to go with that style. And I hadn't seen many FMV games actually do that. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go the neon synthwave slash vaporwave idea, and I used that kind of aesthetic within the game, even though the game isn't set in the 80s per se, but I really like the
It's
aesthetic.
set in the 80s of our hearts.
The 80s of our hearts, yes.
You said vaporwave, and we've got one very big vaporwave fan in the chat here. One of my mods, Ellie, she loves a bit of vaporwave. I think she's gonna like this game a lot. In terms of Anarosa coming to this project, how did the guys get in touch with you? How did you get involved with this?
It was so bizarre because
Sounds like you've become a robot.
I was liking their stuff on Twitter, and then I noticed that Lisea Philly, who had previously spoken to me and Rupert actually, she was an extra for them. And then all of a sudden, Martin Barassa came on Twitter, and he asked me if, first he asked me, he said he had a business proposal for me. So I was very confused as to what he meant by that. And then when I woke up the next day, because he's in Canada, it's like a 6-hour difference, then he asked me if I wanted to audition for the game. And I thought, wow, awesome. Thank you so much. And yeah, sent off a couple of audition audios, and thus a family was made. Yeah, I kind of got myself, I segued into the game. So I'm very, very grateful to Martin for reaching out like that.
And
Martin.
thank you, Martin. Thank you. That's
Martin.
how I got involved as well. Thank you, Martin, just the magical man, Martin. Thank you so much, Martin. Now tell me, Anarosa, in terms of FMV games in general, like how did you even get into this world of FMV games? Because I've seen you in quite a few now.
It was a pure chance, Claire. I wish my acting career would take off in the same way that I did with FMV, but I'm very, very thankful. It was Randy Andy from Contradiction, our good friend John Geiler. He was involved in casting, so that's how that happened. And then just doing one game, then just sort of somersaulted into another game and into another game, and that's how it happened, basically. I just wish everything in my life was that simple, Claire.
It's never that simple.
Would be that easy, but it's not.
No, it's never that simple. Never that simple.
I know, right? Yeah.
Dean,
I'm sorry, I can't get over it. I'm just watching these two guys with the one set of headsets. The headset just
No, I don't have a mixing desk.
I know, it's like
The other option was to actually have Twitch going on my laptop with a second pair of headphones, but the delay is maybe even worse.
guys, they made an FMV game, but they've only got one set of headphones. Somebody in the chat already said, let's start a fundraiser for a second set of headphones. Kickstarter.
We legitimately have a complete green screen studio downstairs, but we have one set of headphones.
Guys, Kickstarter. We need to get them a Kickstarter or something just for headphones.
Get us a nice pair, though.
Seriously.
Get us some like Audio Technica or Bose.
They're already requesting the type of headphones they want. They're into it, so I can assume that the Kickstarter. Martin, I assume we'll have the Kickstarter running by the end of the panel. Martin, request Kickstarter. Let's do it. So, Dean and David.
Honestly, it's not a bad idea. Like if some enterprising fan wants to go out there and start, we could start out with like headphones and go all the way up to like maybe a semi-trailer with a full film kit on it or something.
Exactly. Start small, think big. Start small, think big.
Aspirational targets.
Absolutely. Start small, think big. Now, guys, let's go back to the beginning with FMV games in general, like Dean and David. So, Dean, did you say there that you weren't so much into FMV games, or what are both of your histories with FMV games? Are you huge fans?
Oh, right. So I've always loved FMV games, even early 90s, like Tex Murphy, you were playing Phantasmagoria. I personally like number 2 more.
Okay.
Yeah, it's because number 2 is messed.
Yes, I can't wait. I like messed up shit. I'm up for it.
But yeah, like ever since as a kid, I always kind of wanted to make like an FMV game, and I always learned how to program from a really young age. So it was always the aspirations were always there, but I could never complete a project. And as I've grown older, I work for a software company now, so like I've learned how to manage projects a little better. And I just got to the point where I was like, my other hobbies had taken the wayside, and I kind of wanted to make a game, like an FMV game, and it was on one of my bucket list things to do. So I thought, why not?
I can't code. I can barely tie my own shoes.
I mean, you've only got one set of headphones. You can't
Exactly.
code.
I type with one. I program with one hand.
What was that?
Guys, 15-bit games, everyone. 15-bit games. Round of applause. Round of applause. Round of applause. Like, guys, with
we are not a Mickey Mouse operation, all right?
Totes profesh.
Totally.
So,
Anarosa can confess.
Yes.
Anarosa, like I wanna come, like, first, before we come to your character, which I'm gonna ask you about in a second, I wanted to ask you more about the story for Dean and David. What does the story mean to you? You said there were some personal connections here. Can you explain more of that to us?
Yeah, I'll do that.
So it's Anarosa.
Oh, was it? Oh,
No, yeah. I thought it was no. It's to you guys, yeah. No.
David's name isn't Anarosa.
That's my second name.
Claire, who's the question for? We're so confused. We've got one head, no common sense. What's happening?
This is what happens when you have one set of headphones, guys. That's it. Cancelled. Right, guys. Anarosa, I'm going to get to you in a second.
That's fine. I'll stay silent gladly. I'm good. I'll just stay here.
Before we do that, Dean and David. So, this is a question to you. Explain to me more about those personal themes that you were talking about at the beginning. So, what are the personal themes?
Yes.
Ooh, okay. Do you want to start?
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, look, essentially, Dean and I have both been in some situations, especially over the last decades of our lives, that really did lead to some very, very nasty sort of interpersonal relationships that we had. Usually with our partners, there was a degree of narcissism and undue amounts of control. It really did shape our 30s and the sort of psychological problems that sort of manifested along the way. We saw the act of people canceling people, especially without cause, as seeming just the exact opposite of righteousness. It was cold. It was a snake-like, slithery sort of feeling, and so we wanted to convey that, the feeling of betrayal, the feeling of helplessness, but in a way that is actually very, unfortunately, quite normal. We're not battling aliens in our everyday life. Well, I am, but most of us aren't battling aliens in our everyday life, and so this is something that will probably hit quite close to home. We're going to make sure that there's plenty of warnings and other sorts of stuff just to push home that this is a very, very serious issue, and it's not one that, even though we make light of it, it's because if we didn't make light of the situations in the game fairly often, it would be so depressing. It would be a real bummer. So we tried to make it, if you click on everything, you'll usually say something pretty funny eventually. But then he goes back to being depressed, and yeah. So that's it. That's sort of how it came about.
Can I ask, because this is I guess, like, I'm quite interested in things like that when you are writing something that feels quite personal, quite close to home, and there are quite sensitive themes to deal with. What do you choose to put into the writing, and what do you choose to hold back?
I don't necessarily use that kind of filter. I really think that for us, the filter is something that as a writer you kind of have to designate very early on at the beginning of the sort of the project. I'm working on another project that is G-rated, and that's like Australian G-rated. It's like VeggieTales. That's it. It's just VeggieTales. And so I've got to have my headspace on where it's like I can't throw F-bombs. I can't use sexual references and that sort of stuff. This is very, very different. I don't put those sort of blinkers on. Instead, I put a very different sort on where I think to myself, how can I make this as short and sharp and concise as possible? We want to get the point across, but we don't want to bore them silly. And we don't want to sort of delve into exposition because it's just a very, very different, it's not that kind of game.
And how important do you think it is for pop culture, like video games? Now, there are some video games that I've played that do sometimes deal with mental health and issues like that, but not
But Life
many
is
actually.
very good in that respect.
But how important do you think that is for games to tackle themes like that as well? Because a lot of people that I meet in the Twitch community suffer from mental health problems and things like that.
Indeed.
So how important is it for you to keep shouting
It's
out?
incredibly important. Life will always, art will always imitate life, and vice versa. That's always happened. It always will happen. We need to be making difficult, challenging stories in emergent media, especially. We have the ability to make players feel something very different to films because of agency, control, and the sort of psychological components and aspects that go with that. We want to delight the player, sure, and we want to provoke feelings and thoughts, but we want to do this in a way that actually pertains to something that, yeah, could hit quite close to home. Most of us have been through a breakup. A lot of us have been through a really bad breakup, a messy breakup where that other person acted a bit of a dog. So it's very, very universal. And these sorts of stories are not uncommon. You know, they track very well. Look at like your Netflix list and the sorts of things we've watched over the last 5 years. This is the sort of stuff that people want.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't my Netflix list because I've lived with my husband is rather dark, shall we say. So my Netflix list is all about murderers, missing people.
Yeah, I'm the same.
I'm like
Serial killer documentaries and David Lynch.
I listen to
Yes!
true crime to fall asleep to. That's how.
So does he. He's like, I'm watching one of my programs. I'm like, okay, it's about like missing children. It's about something like that. Right, fine. I'm like, that's how he falls asleep. I'm like, okay, Paul.
Yeah, same.
Did he have a bit of trouble falling asleep in that Tiger King period?
He loved it. He was like, actually, that's the only thing that softens his cold, dark heart is anything with animals. And he's like, oh no, that's really like, it really starts to affect him. Apart from that, he's like,
The only thing that softens my cold, dead heart is like alcohol and coffee.
Hey, that works too.
I guess you're lucky.
That absolutely works too. Right, let's get on to Anarosa. Anarosa, patiently sitting there. We want to find out more about the characters. Okay, so the character I play is a reporter, you know, and I can't say I don't want to say very much else. But Anarosa, please tell us about your character and who she is in this story, if you can.
Okay, so Bobby, and it's Bobby with an IE. But when we were chatting back and forth, David and I, the other night, because he's in Australia, we have the most bizarre conversations at the most random of hours. So I might just be waking up and he's just about to go to sleep. So it's great. So she's the kind of girl who doesn't really care whether you spell her name with an IE, an I, or a Y. She's that kind of gal, and she's in this motel, and if you can just imagine this. It's just this like a motel on the road to nowhere, essentially, where all types of things happen. And she's a fan of coal in a way, and I don't want to give away too much, but she's the kind of girl that you would have known in school who was like a deep, like, you know, like still waters run deep, but she'd probably tell you to fuck off. But she's secretly reading something about like niche, you know, or like quietly listening to Wagner or something, or Guns N' Roses, as we decided. So she's that kind of girl. She shouldn't be working in the motel reading magazines and stuff. She should be doing something a lot more worthy of her intellect. But she's in a road to nowhere motel telling people to not like that, obviously. I'll act it better. But she's that's Bobby. That's Bobby with a Y-I-E-I. She doesn't care. It doesn't matter.
So Anarosa, when you are coming to a role like this, and it's, you know, FMV is so different, I guess, from TV, movies, that kind of thing. When you read something and you get something through, and you're trying to put it into context, what do you bring of yourself? Do you start to create and build the character then with Dean and David or whoever you're working with? Is that how it works?
Well, with this one, it's been a brilliant collaboration. And I mean, because you know what it's like, acting changes, like the way people acted even 10 or 15 years ago, it just keeps constantly changing, and it's all very much centered in the reality, even though FMV does have it's kind of not famous for, but you know, the cliche of over the top acting, ha ha ha. But with this game, just based on the aesthetic, you could tell that it was a completely different ball game, and also with the fact that it's involved, you're bringing in mime, like essentially, because we're not speaking, we're doing audio for our characters, but then we're miming what we're saying. It's a brilliant, and it's so different to anything that I've done before. And in fact, yesterday, and actually the guys got me a green screen because I don't have a green screen. So basically I've learned how to use a green screen, how to build that up. Don't get me talking about soft boxes. That took up half an afternoon, having just a panic attack. So to hell with the acting and coming forward and trying to build Bobby. I was trying to build a bloody green screen set in my house, which is the size of a box. This is the actual size of my house. But back to the question at hand. It's been brilliant. I've just been talking to David and going, hey, what if Bobby does this? Or like sending ideas over to Dean. And, you know, it's been lovely. And I guess more of me is involved in Bobby than I care to think. I'm not as clever as Bobby, but I am really as lazy as Bobby can get, which I've realized. Yeah, you can just stick me in a motel somewhere and I'll gladly just stand there. Just do that, basically, and just look really uninterested in things, and I'll gladly do that, yeah.
If ever there was a Twitch clip to be had, mods, please clip that. Mods, please clip that, please. That is definitely what I'm going to use to advertise. So, we did a panel. This is what Anarosa had to say. Stick me in a hotel. I'll just stand there.
I'll just stand there. I'll just stand in a hotel. It doesn't matter. Not even in a reception. I'll just stand there weirdly in front of people's rooms, and not be room service.
From lazy to creepy, bordering on just standing at your room, not doing anything, just staring.
Oh my God, from lazy to creepy. That's the name of my autobiography, I think. From lazy to creepy.
Or just standing there. Or just standing there. So, Anarosa, like, with it's an interesting point to make, because obviously we have the vocals, we see what we're seeing, but obviously you're not seeing at the same time. So how did you come, or how are you going to come to do this? Like, how as an actor do you even get your head around that? Because I know I'm very emotive when I speak and I'm presenting something. I use my hands, I use my eyes. How do you process that?
Well, so the first couple of takes that we shot, because the trailer, getting that trailer done was hilarious. I mean, I don't know whether you.
I stayed up at 4 a.m. yesterday.
Oh my God, the guys were like, so we need some footage. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll do it tonight. And Dean's like, what can you do in 2 hours? I'm like, we literally applied the green screen. My boyfriend was doing a voiceover job that he had to hand in like 5 minutes ago. So it was a case of like, babe, how long is your voiceover job? He's like, oh, I can just go. I was like, okay, quickly. Then we're just building this set. Like, the acting was the least of my worries. So we're building the set, and then a thing fell down, and then it was like, oh, what? Vertical or horizontal? Horizontal. And then they hadn't written back. I'm like, they're not writing back. Let's just do that. And that was the first attempt of actually acting it out. And as like a acting lesson 101 for 15-bit games Road to Nowhere, it would essentially be, what would my body do, and just try and not open my mouth. It's like that, Claire. It's just like going
so much harder than it sounds.
It sounds hard.
It's difficult because you're like, because in your head you're like, nah, 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 and then your body's like, and then your body's not doing anything, so you're thinking, oh well, no, that's awful. I can't just like will it with my eyes. So it's a case of just trying to marry the words that your mouth would say with the movement that your body will do, and hopefully something comes out. But listen, Claire, yesterday my only aim was just to try and get audio and some footage to the lads, like within a 2-hour window, which is what I said to Dean. Like, I did kids theater. So I know what it's like to rock up to a school when there's been a delay and you have to set up like a whole play in like 8 minutes. So it's fine. Once you do kids theater, you can do any type of performance art, including FMV.
Full disclosure, I feel bad because actually I asked for all of this stuff, so I feel like I've made everyone stay up late.
Deadlines motivate me.
Brilliant. No, it was because I hadn't done any acting for the lads, so for all they knew, they could have just like hired a really bad person. Don't answer too quickly, lads. No, we welcome these challenges. As you can tell, quarantine is. I've tried to go quite zen in quarantine. So no, I embrace these challenges, Claire. It's great.
Oh,
Great.
I'm from Glasgow. I'm never zen. No, I've got pure rage, pure unadulterated Scottish rage, all the goddamn time. I may look happy, but I fucking hate everything. Anyway, so we've got. On that note, I would like to say to Martin a shout out to his lovely wife Lawrence. Hello, Lawrence.
Oh, Martini. Aww.
A shout out to Lawrence. Hello. I'm sorry.
I actually asked Lawrence for advice through Marty now. She almost always tells me I shouldn't have, then comes up with the answer. So
Lawrence is the one. Lawrence is the one. Yes.
And they have the cutest child. They've got the most cutest baby in the world. I'm in love. So
they do.
In the chat here, I just want to say, like, guys, because we're about to do like a little Q&A, so please get your questions ready and make sure you use the highlight feature. It's only 100 channel points. I'm sure you all have those. So it's a highlight feature in the chat so I can see the questions. I had another question for you, Anarosa, because now I'm scared to film stuff because I have to emote then without. Do you have any tips? Any tips for me?
Actually, you can actually speak with your mouth.
Yes,
you can do it.
You are
an exception.
Yes.
You are the news. You're the journalist, so I guess that makes sense. Why can't we open our mouths, lads? Whose idea was that?
The difficulty of lip syncing. You're the only actor who would have the ability to lip sync. Everyone else is played vocally by another person. I play Dean.
Which is weird.
Mike, a lovely boy named Walter Mack plays me, Mike. Anarosa plays herself, weirdly. Rupert plays a psychologist, and the visual of a psychologist is just some rando, stock footage that we've got. There's another one. Oh yeah, and Melissa Medina, who plays Kat, the vocal of Kat. Kat is actually played by Dean's wife.
Whoa!
Yeah. I mean, Dean's like, oh, I'm worried I'm going to get looked up on the street. People will see me. It's like, they won't have a fucking clue what's going on.
I love it. Oh, great. So, well, guys, you'll get to hear this gerbily Scottish accent in the game then.
You're brilliant. Stop it, woman. You're super talented and awesome. So hush now.
I'm so glad. I was getting nervous.
I'm all about building up each other as well now. I've gone zen and I'm all about, self-love. Although I'll probably end up punching someone as I go out the street later on, so it's fine.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah.
Exactly.
Fuel the rage, I say. Fuel the rage. So guys, I've got some questions from chat. So I'm gonna send them over to you. So Greg, I think we already answered your question, I guess, about the lip syncing, the lip movement and stuff. So Greg, I'll leave that one. But thank you, Greg. Trivial Hirsute has a question for David and Dean. So this is the question for David and Dean. How did you decide Claire was Gina Winters? And how did you go about convincing her to take the part? Don't think we need to convince.
Absolutely, I'll take that one. So we have a wonderful function at our company called Martin Barassa. Now, Martin will literally talk to anyone with the confidence of, a 13-year-old at a bar mitzvah on the dance floor. He's just got it. He's happy to go talk to people. They love to talk to him. He's delightfully French. Or French Canadian. And we actually, he was having some quick words with Claire one day, and he came back to me and said, and this has happened, I think, a total of 5 times, different actors. What should we do here? Would we be able to incorporate? Should we invite her to join the project? To which I've had to scramble and write entire parts, and I love it. I'm happy to do it. I don't really have writer's block ever. Just point me at a page and I just do it. But it's more about actually finding the motivation, the time, and indie game production's very varied. You do a lot of stuff. So after that was done, I had a quick chat with Claire. We sort of decided we wanted to, the direction. I sent her the script, and after that, Rupert actually decided, Rupert Booth, he had a role in mind for Claire also, and so we've now decided on a singular name. It's the same character from another mystery project that we can't.
Oh. So that's all we're saying about that. I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
See, I've been very good, and
Nope.
I'm usually overexcited. But they said stuff. I didn't say stuff. They said the stuff.
Yep.
I didn't say the stuff.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But just to, so you are aware, Gina Winters may appear again. And though this is going to be a little bit of a self-contained story, the 3 news stories that are there tell a pretty interesting journey from relatively normal to almost Lovecraftianly weird, right down to, I don't know, David Lynch.
Very David
Lynch. Yeah.
All roads lead to Lynch.
That's it. So Martin plus Claire equals content.
Yay, Martin. Love you, Martin. Thank you. And thank you very much to you guys for having me too. So thank you very much. I am extremely nervous about the whole thing because I've never done an acting thing. So I'm just
You're acting right now.
Oh, you're going to be amazing. Hush now.
I'm
Awesome.
a professional shit talker. That's pretty much, that's my job.
I write pretty lies for a living.
There we go. We're here. And somehow fate has brought us together, which is good. So, Cactus has a question. Sorry, no, you're just telling people to ask questions. Rupert has a question. Hello, Rupert. Hi, Rupert. Thanks very much for joining the Wee Squad, Rupert. Rupert has a question. How come Claire and Anarosa get to be seen and I'm just a voiceover? I want to be beautifully rendered too.
If you get a green screen, we can film you, and then you can be in the game.
Rupert, that placeholder for that scene can very easily be you. But we didn't want to push it. We're lovely friends. We don't want to push that friendship. So.
Rupert, get your arse to the shops or on Amazon and get a green screen, my friend. We want to see your beautiful face. Yes. So we've got another question from Toasty, who is a great streamer. Hello, Toasty. Okay, so we'll go one by one here. So let's start with Anarosa first, and then we'll go to the boys. Question: what do you think the future is for FMV games? And do you plan to make any more? So just for Anarosa, let's just concentrate on the first part of that. What do you think the future is for FMV games, Anarosa? And then I'll ask the boys.
Because unfortunately, back in the day, I was a gamer, and then I left the party and I came back, and then the party changed, and then it's like the gaming world now, you know. But what I have noticed from even the past 4 years, I think the future of FMV, it's a genre that it's always on the up, actually, and with creators such as the beautiful 15-Bit Boys, or you've got Tiana Studios, or Deveki Studios, that are all these independent teams with very different perspectives and aesthetics. I think FMV is going to be a genre, because then you've got the other spectrum, like Her Story, where the budget is ridiculous and it's a Hollywood movie in itself. But I'm hoping that the gap is going to bridge between the smaller indies and the ridiculous budget boys, if you get me. And I think that is happening. I think there's a lot of talent out there, and there's a lot of dedicated people and artists that want to make this genre not a joke like it might have been in the past, because I know that was I think that was the attitude people had to that genre. And I think now, and especially with when you hear David and Dean speaking about the issues that they're tackling within quote unquote a game, I think it's the only way is up, really, and people will hopefully sit back and take notice and realize that it's not just a pantomime branch of gaming, that it can stand on its own and be highly respected.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree. And so I'll read out the question again for you guys, because there's a 2-part question. So, and the second part really relates to what you guys are doing. So again, Toasty says, what do you think the future is for FMV games? But she says, as well as that, do you plan to make any more, Dean and David?
Well, I personally think the future of FMV games in general is you can see there's more interaction in the genre. There is more coming in it, because back in the 90s, like most of them was like, you wait 15 minutes, now I press the mouse button and stuff like that. So they're becoming a bit more integrated with the gameplay and things like that. As for future projects, we're considering more of a cyberpunky game after this one when I finally finish it, and it's going to be more in lines of the Hideo Kojima kind of Snatcher, Police Noughts kind of vibe, which are great games in themselves. So yeah, definitely going to do more projects.
I'll be playing the lead in the next one.
I'll be the
Dean
villain.
will be the villain. It will
Yes.
be, and I'm gonna have a ridiculous haircut.
And it's going to be
Can't
high
wait.
budget.
Watch my socials. Yeah, look, guys, we've got some really big plans for the next game. A few of the things, obviously, we want to. There's a very large part of us that want to make it more filmic. We want to get into practical effects. We want to, get the makeup onto people, get them to look a bit different. Really start to make it more like a film experience. But as well as that, I think that the next stage of FMV gaming is keeping the filmic aesthetic, but then including more telltale style gameplay elements where there is more choice. It's a more tactile kind of thing. You're always, there's fight scenes, things like that. Is it going to be incredibly complicated? Yes, it'll do our head in. But I think that it will be a really interesting product with an amazing and wild aesthetic thing. If Road to Nowhere was brought to you by the color purple, this next one might be brought to you by the color emerald green. So think of it like that.
Oh yes, yes. I've just a small request. If ever you guys end up doing an FMV game and happen to cast Keanu Reeves, then I would love to return as Gina Winters. Just saying.
He's mine. He's not yours. He is mine.
Just saying. Like that would be that'd be perfect for me. Thank you very much. Thank you. I want that in a contract somewhere. Thank you. I've got a comment, more of a comment than a question. Oh well, maybe it's a question. I guess this is for Dean and David again. This is from CJ. He's a bit of a jokester in our chat, but CJ says, if we crowdfund and get Rupert a tin of green paint to paint one of his walls to chroma key, will you put him in the game? And does this also make him a key worker?
I'm more than is he essential work? Yeah, he could be an essential worker.
Rupert is so essential.
Yes.
I'd definitely put him in the game. I would
adds
love
value to any conversation.
Yes. Rupert is amazing.
If he can get the green screen, or if he wants to paint his apartment green and make his landlord really unhappy, I'm more than happy for him to do that.
Rupert, we've sort of thought about this, and realistically, if you worked with a very careful outfit, and you could then even just go on any plain background at the right angle, then there's still a possibility, because remember, if you see it in the scene, that character is highly obscured. But obviously, we don't want to obscure you too much because
your pretty face.
Yeah, you the money, baby.
There you go, Rupert. There you go, Rupert. Get that green screen bought, my friend. Martin says here, Anarosa, could you do your Martin impersonation?
So I am Martin, and I have a business suggestion for you, and I am French Canadian. That's it. And I only do it.
In reality, Martin kind of sounds like this, and he's down very, very low, and he lives in Canada.
Ooh, sexy Martin. Ooh. Sexy Martin.
I did that for my girlfriend the other day, and she was quite shocked.
I love that.
Like Arnold Schwarzenegger as well.
He's getting a bit Arnie there.
Look, I think the accent gets stuck in my mouth.
Hey, I used to do like accent streams where I'd like look at a YouTube video and try and do the accent. We've done Australian, Northern Irish, French. I'm terrible at all accents, which is why I was.
Yeah, because Australian's so hard.
How's it going?
How's it going, mate? Yeah.
Australian. Yeah, I'm Gina Winters.
We mock ourselves.
That's right.
I'm so shit. Like, it's so bad. So that's why I was nervous, because I said to you guys, can I just do my accent? Because I don't want to do another one. Like,
look, if you're going to do Aussie badly, go the best bad Aussie accent ever, which is Robert Downey Jr. in Natural Born Killers.
Oh.
It's so bad.
I need to check that out.
Yes.
I'm
into
it.
Cactus has got a question. Hello, Cactus. Cactus says, 2 participants of your game are involved in a weekly podcast, that's me and Rupert, where they try and talk about a film, but instead discuss an FMV idea. They're stuck in a cave with limited supplies and a gerbil that sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Would you be open to discussing such an idea, and where can I audition for the gerbil part?
Was that Rupert?
No, that was Cactus. Cactus and I. So Rupert and I, every week we've been
Cactus
talking.
has been watching the other stream.
Cactus has been watching our podcast, and basically every single week Rupert and I try and talk about sci-fi, but we've ended up writing an FMV game about us stuck in a cave with a gerbil in a box. That's what. And so we're pitching it to you guys right now. It's a live pitch.
Caves are cheap. They're everywhere.
There you go.
I honestly want to do an FMV game, and Rupert brought this up too. I want to do an FMV game with Tommy Wiseau from The Room. Hi, FMV game.
Yes, 1,000 times yes. I was so into that.
No, look, I think as a good an idea as the Wise Hour game would be, I'm pretty sure that will result in a phenomena like The Ring.
Yes.
It will be The Ring of video games. Don't do it. We won't do it.
Now, guys,
No.
I've got now. I'm going to ask a few questions, and if you guys in the chat, if you've got any other questions for the guys, whilst I'm asking now, this is your time because this will be the last point that you can ask them. Okay, so highlight your questions.
Oh, I like the French Canadian supervillain idea. I could do that.
Oh, Martin actually supervillain. Oh, interesting. See, it's writing itself. It's writing itself. Writing itself. So Anarosa, I have a question for you. So there might be some people out there who perhaps want to become actors, that perhaps are actors already, but really want to get into the FMV world or do voiceover. What would you suggest to them? I know it's quite an open-ended sort of question, but how would you suggest that they get into this kind of world, the FMV world?
Well, for FMV, I would suggest that have a show reel. And whatever way, try and get a show reel that's decent. If you don't have a lot of work, get applying to student films. If you're getting a show reel together, don't add everything in. Only get the best bits, essentially. If that, it shouldn't be any longer than 2 minutes anyway. I'm getting really technical now, so forgive me. So once you have that, and also just a CV, because you don't want to be approaching companies, annoying them, and not have anything. I'm being very practical on this one. It's like knocking on the door to someone and going, hey, and you're just going, hey, and they're like, what do you want? Work. So once you have your show reel and your CV, then approach FMV companies, see if they have a casting department. If not, then just ask them if they're casting anything at the moment. And the same with voice reels. If you don't have access to a studio, maybe try and find someone who does. You can even do stuff on your phone actually, and then just put it into Audacity or anything. Again, a couple of clips, and Twitter is a great place to start for production companies and casting directors as well. And also just go onto Google, but just get your stuff together first, and don't be an annoying actor or say, I want to be an actor, give me work. Have something to show, have a calling card. And I'm being really harsh is because I used to be a little bit like that, and then I got told and lived it through the harsh way. So get all your stuff together and then go promote yourself, because if you don't have anything to promote yourself, you're starting off on the wrong foot and you're presenting yourself incorrectly, and people will judge you on that first impression.
Oh, 100%. I'd say the same for presenting as well. Go in with
Pardon?
What was that?
What was that?
That's really good advice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thanks, David. Okay.
Compliment me again. Could you compliment me again? Thank you, David. Thank you. I think it's very good advice, because I think and I get asked the same question, maybe more about the presenting side or writing, because I write and stuff as well. And I think a lot of people go, oh, I like watching you do that, or watching this person do that. I want to do it too. But there's a lot of, you've got to really work on what you think you can bring, and then try and bring it, if you know what I mean.
Because people see it and they think, that's easy, but it's really not, because getting to do interviews and things like this is my fun time. The stressful time is when you're communicating with your bosses over in Australia. They're like, hi, you're getting notes, you're getting feedback, you're not, you try it once, it's not working, or you audition for something and you don't get it. So people don't see the ugly side or the really boring side when you're just sitting trying to format your CV, and then all the letters go, and you're like, I hate my life right now, and you're about to jump out a window because you can't get font. So they don't see that. This is the fun side. This is the exciting side of when acting works. So once you can get your head around the really horrible, boring stuff and making friends with the word no and the constant rejection, then come on in, join the club.
Yes. Yes, and it's that way we're. Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm about to get on to those. Is it the movies one?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Let's move on to Ellie64's question. Let's go to. Thank you very much, Anarosa. Let's move on to Dean and David. Ellie64 asks, "What are your favorite movies of all time?" Go for it, boys. Go for it. What have you got?
The Room. No, I'm joking. My favorite films which have inspired Road to Nowhere is definitely like Jacob's Ladder. Pretty much anything by David Lynch. I'm a huge fan of Twin Peaks, but so yeah, Jacob's Ladder. American Psycho is a huge favorite of mine.
Oh yes.
I was trying to channel David to be a bit Patrick Bateman in the diner. You can pick up if you're pretending between the conversation between Jared Leto and in the loo. In the loo. But yeah, those are my favorite films. I'm really into psychological horror and type of thing. So.
Okay, so Psycho. And what about you, David? What are your favorite films?
Okay, Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Good one.
Fight Club.
Yes.
Let's see. Shawshank Redemption. That's
yes.
Something by Martin Scorsese. I'll say The Departed. I'll go with The Academy on that one, and I'll round it out with Labyrinth.
Oh.
David Bowie's crotch for you in that one.
It's all about the codpiece. It's all about the codpiece. Right, same question to Anarosa. I'm interested to hear what your favourite films are, Anarosa. Go for it.
Oh man, I'm not good at these boys. Like it ranges from the original Some Like It Hot with Marilyn Monroe to Amélie, which is a beautiful French film. What else? I like anything with vampires, like Blade Trinity. Like I love all that stuff as well. Because I want to be a vampire when I grow up. In a film, obviously, not in real life. That would just.
The Room was going to have vampires. Did you know that?
Pardon?
The Room was going to have vampires in it, but it got cut out.
Does not surprise me. They probably ran out of budget.
Contact.
Yeah, I mean, so I do, and then there's a couple of like I like Spanish cinema as well. So things like from Alejandro Amenábar, he's brought out some interesting stuff in the past couple of years. So yeah, but you know what? I'm going back to earlier. I love watching crime documentaries and people going missing, and I started watching them just before I go to sleep. So I've been doing that a lot lately.
What's wrong with you people? Can't you just fall asleep to silence and not missing children?
Murder.
I need to know someone has gone missing and that they haven't been found yet.
And we sleep. We have to sleep.
I go to sleep.
This slot, no sleep.
Well, it's very early in the morning for those guys, like 3, 4, whatever in the morning right now. So thank you again.
Absolute legends. Thank you.
Legends. I Am Gogs has a question. We've got another question from I Am Gogs. Hello, Goggy boy. It's lovely to see you. So Gogs says, and we'll start with Dean and David with this one. Can you see FMV choose your own adventure games truly taking off on platforms like Netflix post Bandersnatch, or do you see that as more of a one-off experiment on their part? Great question.
I was actually I was recently I watched Bandersnatch. It was great. You know, I love Black Mirror, but I actually watched the Kimmy Schmidt one, and I was thinking to myself while we were doing this is just an FMV game. There's no I wouldn't call it an adventure game. It doesn't have items. It doesn't really have anything you can go into a lot of detail or start to like you were doing there, you basically just click on everything as much as possible. It's more of like literally choose your own adventure. But I was thinking to myself that it would be very, very easy for us to just film this, put all the decisions in there, and as long as the platform itself is reasonably intuitive, I mean, you're just looking at enter, left, right buttons. Like, it's not that complicated. I don't see any reason why there couldn't be like 10 of them next year, 50 of them the year after.
Well, I was going to say, Telltale, who are now defunct, of course, were going to put a lot of their games onto Netflix because of the way that those games
Minecraft story mode.
Yeah, and Borderlands. Tales of Borderlands as well. So I think it's actually a really good idea, but I don't see it being. Don't see it pushing forward at this point.
I do.
We'll agree to disagree.
So, guys, before we love you and leave you, because this has been absolutely lovely, and those two boys need to get to sleep. Like, they need
I
to
do. I've been up for 2 days. I really need to get to sleep.
I've kept poor Dean's been hacking away, getting all the things I need ready for today. So I've apologized. Go watch a murder documentary. You'll sleep like a baby.
I'll well to sleep.
You'll sleep like a baby, my friend. So before we go, we'll hear for Anarosa first. Anarosa, tell me first of all, like, why should people check out this game when it's out later in the year or on the demo that's on Steam right now?
Yeah, I'll tell you from a person that's not even a gamer. It's so different and it's so cinematic and it feels like you are choosing your. It's like you're in your own film. It's absolutely brilliant. So purely based on that, even if you don't like gaming or anything, just the curiosity that it sparks in you, check it out. And then if you are a gamer, definitely check it out because it really does delve into issues that we can all relate to and again, I'm going back to the cinematic stance, but it's because film draws you in and people, when you watch something that you can connect with on a cinematic level, it really is changing. And I think the fact that you get to do this as a game, it can only mean bigger and greater things, not only for the genre, but for the 15-bit boys as well. So go check it out. It just looks so goddamn pretty. Even if you just want to be like really vacuous, just check it out. It looks awesome. And the guys do an amazing job as well, performance-wise as well. So yeah, some amazing voices in it too. Some very sexy voices. So check it out for the sexy voices as well.
Sexy voices, great colors, topics. They got topics for days.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
If that was it, I mean, forget Martin's out of a job. Anarosa's doing the marketing now. Martin's out. Anarosa's
doing the marketing.
That is awful. No, sorry.
Right, Dean and David, why should people check out the demo, wishlist it, and check it out later this year when it comes out?
All right, so if you want to play a game that I hope a lot of people will be able to connect with emotionally more than most games, I really would like people to check it out for that alone. Also, if you want to play an FMV game that kind of doesn't look like an FMV game or play like a normal FMV game, but you're curious about the genre and want to see something slightly different, wishlist it. Yeah. The game will be available for free. To begin with, there will be a paid version later on, but you'll get everything. You get the whole gameplay experience anyway. I want people to get the message. I just want to share it with everybody. I don't expect people to pay a cent for it. So I just want everybody to enjoy it.
Which is amazing. Okay. So guys, like, please go wishlist it. Please wishlist it. I've got put the link out again on the chat, so you've got no excuse. I've put all the links out whilst these guys are talking, so please go click on things, support indie FMV, support indie projects as well. It's very, very important, something I feel very passionate about, so please go check them out. Guys, finally, I want you to go and follow 15-Bit Games on Twitter, and if you want to follow Dean's Escapades, it's D15Bit. If you want to follow David, it's David J. Ross 15-Bit, and finally Anarosa's Anarosa Butler on Twitter. Yes.
He's the popular.
Yeah, that is all. But just make sure you go and give Anarosa as much love as possible because it seems to trickle down onto us.
Yes. Yes.
You're so sweet.
Any big Anarosa Rupert fans out there? Just go like and subscribe immediately.
Go for it. Go for it. Do all the stuff. All the stuff. Guys, you have been absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for talking to me. And
Thank you, Claire. Thank you so much for organising all this as well. You absolute legend. You Scottish woman.
Claire. You're great.
No, you're amazing. No, you're amazing. No, shush, shush. No, you're amazing. Guys, you've been absolutely incredible. And I'm sure when the game is released, or if there's new bits and pieces, come back again on this channel and we'll talk about it again. For sure, yeah?
We'll have 2 headsets.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Please.
Let's get that Kickstarter going, my friends. We Squad, we can buy them. We can get Beats by Dr. Dre.
Unprofessional.
Guys, I will see you soon. Take care. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.